Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Random Encounters Guild. It has been a minute since we've been on stream. I think the last time we streamed was 2 weeks ago when we streamed Symbaroum. Um, we're in the midst of the scheduling conflicts left and right. People moving, people, you know, having lives and all such as that. So, um, we haven't played Blade 68 in a while, and we haven't played Alien in a couple of weeks. So hopefully that will change this week. Um,
Did you did you miss Alien Day?
we did. Yeah, I had two players back out, couldn't play. So I was going to run Kinless last night, and when it got to like 7 o'clock, it was either get up out of my chair and get in here and get it set up, or just not do it. So I just didn't do it.
Nap.
Although I'm very excited about it. I've got the book now. Everything is cool. I'm really ready to go on it. But yeah, last night I just wasn't feeling it. I just didn't feel like getting in here and setting it up. But tonight we are back with more Symbaroum. Probably going to be the last session of the Promised Land, and then we may be taking a break for an extended period of time to do some other things. But I would like to get this group together and play the second chapter at some point. Maybe we can just put a break in between them and come back at a later date and do the second book. But so yeah, where we left off, you guys had discovered that two of the members of your caravan, the Pathfinders in the caravan, brothers named Ludo and Balin, did some stupid stuff in Davokar and laid their hands on a skull that had a copper crown embedded into the bone. And apparently they are blight stricken now. And Balin seems to be really sick. He's kind of taken a turn for the worst. Ludo still seems fine, but Balin seems pretty ill. The Black Cloak in the caravan, Lestra, was concerned about Balin and was trying to keep an eye on him. And you guys wound up fighting a hunger wolf that was hunting the two of them, and you came to find out that the wolf was actually a young female elf. You killed her mercilessly in very quick fashion. She didn't even really get to attack anybody.
I was going to say, if we looked around, that was pretty merciful.
We proactively defended ourselves.
Yes. That's our story.
And you got back to camp, and suddenly there was a major. All this time you'd been having really nice weather. It seemed like you'd been favored with the weather, and then suddenly it turned, and you were in the middle of a storm, and you actually had to stop. And you circled the wagons around, and everybody was huddled up around the fires, trying to take shelter from this massive storm. And
I also learned that the wizard in the group has no concept of danger because he did not define trapped in a Donner Party blizzard with elves hunting us as an emergency.
Well, at the time, the elves weren't hunting you yet. Well, they were, but you didn't know that.
We knew
they
were.
But yeah, the next morning, there was a break in the storm. Everything suddenly calmed down, and these two figures approached. And from a distance, one of them yelled, yells out, "We want the ones called Balin and Ludo." And Argasto jumped up on a barrel on one of the wagons, and he yelled out, "Why? What do you want with my men?" And he said, "They have violated the treaties. They have tunneled too deep into the soil of old Davokar, They are blight-stricken and must be purged. And that was kind of where we left off. I believe that was where we cut it last time. There was some discussion after we shut down the stream. You guys were kind of talking about we're just going to give them over. But the as you guys start, like, there's automatically chatter. Argasto doesn't want to turn them over. Lestra, the Black Cloak, doesn't want to turn them over. She thinks they should be put in shackles and taken to Yindaros.
Torvar will say, you know, our people know how to deal with the blight stricken, and one of the ways you deal with them is you hand them to the elves. I'm fine with it. They have dug too greedily and too deep, and this is their punishment.
And yeah, when you say that, one of the other Telk, the mule driver that you've spoken to, he speaks up and says, "Yeah, better them than me. I'm not fighting elves. That's not what I'm here for." And there's pretty much it's going back and forth, and everybody's arguing, and Argasto is trying to keep everybody calm. Varric, give me a vigilant roll, please.
All right. Okay.
And of course, Balin and Ludo are saying no, please don't. We didn't do anything wrong and all that. They're trying to defend
Am I
themselves.
doing a straight roll, or do I have any penalties? Or
Straight roll.
7. So that is a success.
All right. None of the rest of you speak their language. That's why I'm going with Varric. But you may, like, while all this is arguing and it's going back and forth, you kind of look over and you see the two of them, like, the younger one is leaned over and they're like in each other's ear talking, and you start catching bits of it on the wind. And the younger one leans over and he says, "Let us strike them all. We don't know who else is infected." And then Gaudry says, "No, the two are enough, no others." And then the younger one, his name's Sarenri, he says, "They slew my Carrie Less." And Gaudry says, "I know. Her sacrifice will not be forgotten, but the killing ends with the blight-stricken barbarians. We won't start a war today." And Sarenri says, "You know as I do, that war is inevitable, if not today." And then Gaudry says, "Enough. Silence." And Sarenri kind of backs down.
Real quick, before to see if there's some sort of knowledge we would have, when he says barbarians, is he just saying, you know, the sense of people, or are the two brothers actually like Turvar, they're natives of Davokar?
Yeah.
Okay, they're tribesmen.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so as it pans out, all this arguing and all this back and forth, it's kind of split even. Half the caravan wants, of course, it's got to be this way. We're playing a game, boys. Half the caravan wants them to be turned over, and the other half wants to protect them and don't want to consign them to the threat of the elves.
And I apologize, I don't have the names of the two brothers. Which one is the one that is not as badly?
Ludo.
So Varric will quietly walk over to Argasto and kind of signal him, like, "We need to talk. Come here for a second."
And you did show him her body. I do. You did when you brought her into camp. You made it known what had happened, and you know, you told him what you experienced, and he saw the body. So, um,
But yeah, Varric's gonna kind of go over to Argasto and sort of come here. We need to talk.
and he maybe leans up back over the caravan, and he says, "A moment, please, a moment." And
So Varric,
and all this debate, they've been standing there, and Godry says, he looks up and he says, "I will have those two. Blow will flow if you refuse. We will return at sundown." And they both turn and walk away. And Argasto turns and says, "Okay, what? What do we got? What are we gonna do?"
well, Varric will kind of lean in, so just like Argasto,
Yeah.
I mean, any members of the party, if they're sufficiently close enough, like, well, this might come as a surprise, but I speak some measure of Elvish. If we don't turn those two over, they will return in force, and they will kill your entire caravan. And by all rights of the Iron Pact, they will find, even if we fight them off, those two will find no peace within Davokar, nor will anyone else with them.
And so Torvar will turn to Ludo and say, I don't know your people, but I know that you know there's only one way this ends. And it's a question, will you face it bravely, or will you hide behind your companions?
Okay, so you're trying to guilt trip him into turning himself over?
Either guilt trip him, or, like I said, like appeal to his, masculinity, pride, his tribe's people nature.
You're going to hide behind the skirts of the civilized people from the south?
I would never call them civilized. Are you kidding me? They live in muddy shacks instead of the free range.
Yes, but coming from our people, that's sort of an insult. Calling them civilized. Well, your people. I'm technically a barbarian, but you know how that went.
But yeah, so I am going to appeal to his, as you say, like either to guilt him or to appeal to his understanding of the tribe's people's mores.
Or I suppose we can convince the elves to give you an hour's head start.
And Ludo kind of points at the body wrapped up in the canvas and is like, "Yeah, I don't think that's happening." And they're both like, they're terrified. They're barbarians, but they're also like, just like you. They know what's happening. They know what's going to happen if they go to the elves. But Argasto is like, this is my caravan. If they don't go willingly, and if we as a group decide that they should go, then they go. I'm not going to protect them if that's not the consensus of the group.
And Varric will look at both of them and say, "You know what's happening to the two of you. I know what's happening to the two of you. I've seen it. And I will guarantee you that a swift death at the hands of the elves will be vastly preferable to when your skin turns black and begins to split open with your own bones. Till you become something out of children's nightmares, and you're trapped within that form, unable to do anything about it except watch. But you stalk and kill your own people." And spend, well, years, centuries, at least until something kills you. In that same punishing, crippling agony for every instant of the remainder of your lives. Until mercifully someone puts a spear through whatever passes for your skull at that point.
I don't. I mean, I don't see how it could be possible than that, or how it could be worse than just being executed by these elves who can magically transform into these huge beasts.
Is that Ludo saying that?
Yeah. Yeah, Balin has got like he's got his hood up. He's huddled down, like he's scrunched down, trying to like he's just freezing, like he's just trying to like he's just ill, like he's getting worse.
And
So
he
the
had
only
already,
one that's really communicating is Ludo.
and Balin, was already visibly beginning to transform.
Yeah,
Yeah, his aura was that almost black.
yeah, it's oily black.
And Varric would just sort of stand up and he'll point at Ludo and Balin and say, "Why don't you pull your brother's hood back? Ask him how he feels about it, as you seem to be the only one speaking."
And he looks, and I mean, he's obviously frightened. He's obviously terrified of everything. Like terrified of that, terrified of them, terrified of you. Like none of this is helping his disposition. Uh, and I mean, like he will actually say, "My brother's fine. There's nothing wrong with my brother. There's nothing wrong with me. If you hand us over to these elves," and he's just arguing, and Argasto will kind of lean over to Razor and say, "Do you have any counsel, bodyguard?"
It's better to sacrifice the smaller number for the bigger number.
Even Rajor understands basic math.
2 + 2 is 5.
Rajor understand big and small.
MOON, that spells moon.
Oh boy, he went with the stand. Think that in a minute.
So yeah, if they're still waffling and Ludo's doing this, then I'm going to shift tactic, and Torvar is going to talk to Argasto. And
Okay.
while we're all standing around talking, and I'll say, clearly Ludo doesn't have the strength to do what must be done. But consider this also: we are heading to the seat of elven power. Do you want to refuse their demands and then go to their home? Do you think it will end better for us that way?
I don't think anybody wins in this situation. I don't like dealing with the elves, but I also don't want to cross the elves. But I don't think anybody is going to come out ahead. When you deal with the elves, the only people that win are the elves.
Varric will just laugh.
And I'll nod. I'll be like, yeah, you're right.
And
Yeah.
I mean, Argasso will look at Velcor and I mean, do you have anything to add, or are you against this, or what are your thoughts?
Oh, Velcor is all about removing the problem, just getting rid of it, whether it's taking care of it himself or passing them over to the elves. He's not putting his life in danger to save two people that are about to become what Varric has described.
And Varric is very obviously speaking from a position of experience. Particularly the putting a spear through their skull part.
Okay, well, and Argasto will kind of like he's kind of keeping it like this is just a conversation between the five of you. He's kind of pulled you four aside and to get your counsel.
I see it as unfortunate, but I'm speaking from experience when I say that turning them over to the elves will be a kinder fate than what awaits them otherwise.
Yeah, were we by the rich
Argasto will
women?
motion for Lestra, the Black Cloak, to come over, and she comes over, and she's visibly like upset, like she's angry. Just that this is even a conversation. And he tells her, okay, I know that you want to bring them with us and study them, but it looks like the decision has been made to turn them over to the elves. And she'll say, "You're seriously mistaken if you believe this strengthens our position. Prios, the one and the giver of laws, wants the corrupted brought to Umbria, where my brothers and sisters will care for them."
I have seen Ambrian care of tribesmen. I'd rather give them to the elves.
Does this religious argument sway anybody else?
Definitely not Velcor. He hasn't exactly seen any good from the religious environments and the way that he's been treated throughout his life.
I mean, it's definitely not going to sway Varric.
Raise your.
I believe in what I could see and hit with my sword. Sky beings mean nothing to me.
Rajor of the Hill people.
And she will kind of raises her voice and she says, "We can't just hand them over. They must be studied. The horrors of Davokar must be understood if we are to fight them." And she just kind of and Argasto's like, "Chill, woman. Calm yourself." And she's like, "Okay, fine." And she turns and stomps off. But that outburst was enough that Ludo and Balin heard.
Surprise.
And Ludo begins to argue. He kind of he doesn't shoehorn himself into the circle, but he does approach, and he says, "You can't do this. This is not right. I've been a loyal member of this group, and I've worked for you, Argasto, for many cycles. We've made this trip so many times, and now you're just going to hand me over to the elves." And you all kind of, while he's making his argument, Balin stands up.
Here it comes.
And his cloak falls away. And he has transitioned into the first stage of Balin is no longer there. We'll say that. He is starting to become a Blightborn. Let me see if he has. He does. Look at that.
Then Torvar will scream.
Blightborn! He has turning stats and post turning stats.
That sounds frightening.
And so yeah, that will bring us into initiative.
Just so you know, I figured out what I want to use my XP for. It's so I've already got it chosen before we get into combat.
And I think I mentioned it off screen, but yeah, I picked mine.
Yeah, you're good. Does anybody else want to? Did you have anything you wanted to add to your character sheets before we?
I picked up Lore Master to round myself out towards going towards the Iron Sworn profession, but that doesn't have any effect on combat. So
well, that's good because
SMRT smart.
Technically, to understand what they were saying, you should have had Lore Master, but with your background and everything, you understand their language already. So I didn't ask for Lore Master, but that's good that you took it. And Kevin, I didn't know if you were gonna try to add anything or not.
Yeah, I took Iron Fist, so this way I can use
Oh yeah.
strength for attacks.
Just so you
Yeah,
know,
he
I'm
could be the-
taking twin attack.
Nice.
I'm going to be breaking out the stiletto and the dagger.
Now Rhaegar is the most boring of the Marvel Netflix series.
I've been trying to remember the name of the land that he comes from to make references to it, but I'm just completely drawing.
Kunlun.
That's it.
Rhaegar fist as unto a thing of living iron.
Okay, so as always with this game, we are in initiative is done with quickness. So it's already it didn't. Why does it keep erasing y'all's? It held raise yours, but it doesn't hold anybody else's.
Well, conveniently, mine is not quickness anymore.
Okay, so what is it?
It's my cunning because it's a tactician, so it's 13.
That puts you right up there or at the top, or close to it anyway.
I am also SMRT smart, and now I know how to fight like that.
And Velcor has a 12. Yeah, this is going to be quick, just like the other. You all go before. Well, Ludo is in there, but I'm going to say at least for this first round, he's not going to he's going to be shocked at what is occurring with his brother. But yeah, he stands up and he drops his cloak, and his skin is black, like his veins have gone black, and his eyes are black. There's no like iris anymore. It's just his entire eyeball is turned black, and there's black blood seeping out of his ears and out of his nose and maybe even out of his eyes. And he like snarls, and Ludo turns and like is shocked and to see his brother like this. He was just trying to defend him, and that puts us okay. So Varric and Torvar, you both are tied for first now. I'm going to let you decide which one of you wants to go first, or we can roll off on it, I guess. But
I'm going to assume it would probably be default to a second attribute like quickness or something, which my quickness still ain't great. So Varric can go first.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think that's actually in the rules. Now that you say that, I think that's actually how you do it. If anybody's tied, it's
yeah. I think it does go to a secondary aptitude. I think you're right.
all right. So Varric, and I mean, I'm not gonna say like you had your weapons stashed in a, you got all your gear on you, but you're not necessarily had weapons drawn because you were in camp. So.
Yeah. The nice thing about a spear is you don't really have to draw that sort of thing. It's kind of there. So Ludo is just standing there right in front of us, and then Balin is back on the other side of him, essentially.
Yeah.
Now the question is, do we have to take care of Ludo, or is he going to be a problem?
Guess you'll have to see till the top of the next round when he has a reaction.
Well, all right. I'll give him the moment. His brother may eat him for all we know. So yeah, Varric's just going to have his spear planted in the ground, but he's going to unsling his bow. He's going to use his move action to unsling his bow, and try and put an arrow into what used to be Balin.
Okay.
And as a Blightborn, I'm gonna bet he's hard to hurt. What am I rolling against?
Easy to hit, hard to damage.
It is against his. Okay, so you get a -3.
So negative. I'm still. Okay.
You're rolling with your bow and arrow, or with a bow. You're using
Accurate.
So
accurate.
roll.
Yeah, you're using accurate, and you get a -3 to your roll.
Okay,
Or
so
well-
roll and then subtract 3 from that number and see if that's lower than your accuracy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's a good thing I got that because that makes that a 12. Oh, like technically I think I'll just succeed anyway, but that makes that a 12. So it is a hit.
All right. So your damage.
D10. 9
Nice.
before his
Gracious.
black hide absorbs all of it or something.
It has... Okay, it does. All right. Okay. That brings us to Torvar.
Okay. So Torvar is going to draw his sword, and so I'm picturing our group is like, say, down at the south, and then Balin is up here, like kind of to the northeast or something like that. I am going to draw my sword and ready my shield, and try and move in a big half circle and get his attention. I'm going to start yelling at him, like banging my sword on my shield and shouting, "Come at me, Blightborn!" And I'm trying to maneuver him in such a way that I'm flanking him with everybody else. So even if I don't get an action this turn, I want to reposition him so everybody gets a flanking.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a. I'm not even going to make you roll for it. That's a. He is no longer an intelligent. I mean, he obviously wasn't that intelligent to begin with, but he's a animal now. He's a creature. So yeah, if you're banging on the shield and yelling at him and distracting him, yeah, he will start tracking you. And he kind of at least goes sideways to everybody else. Anything else?
That's probably both actions, because drawing the sword and shield, and then moving. That's probably everything I can do.
All right, Velcor.
Velcor is going to attempt to look like Ludo.
Throw an arrow at it?
Nope. Learned his lesson on that.
No!
He's going to attempt to look like Ludo. Just a little shapeshifter business there to reduce the chance of getting hit.
Okay.
And that'll do it. I got a 10 and my Resolute is 12. So I look a little bit like Ludo, but not so much that my companions would be mistaken. And then with that, if we're having to draw weapons, I'm going to draw out the parrying dagger and the stiletto, one in each hand.
Balin only pawn in Game of Life.
What was that? I didn't hear.
I said, Balin only pawn in Game of Life.
Oh.
Oh,
And just so you know,
can't
Scott,
go with the Monty Python reference. You got to go with Blazing Saddles.
that gives me a +1 on my defense as well.
Nice.
Okay. That brings us to Raise Your.
So like Ludo is over like with us, kind of.
Well, he's in between. Like the four of you and Argasto were in this circle here, and Ludo came over. He's like halfway to you, and Balin is on the other side. And now Torvar is kind of circled around, getting him distracted. But Ludo is between you and Balin, but not some like you take a step to the right and you're clear of him.
All right. So I will pull both my swords and move up next to Ludo, and I'll be able to do something next turn.
Okay. That
That's
brings
me.
us to Balin Blightborn. And I'm going to say he goes at Torvar since he's distracted by him. So he's going to try to claw you.
All right.
And so you roll.
Okay.
Here we go again. So you have a defense of 9.
9.
I still don't understand this.
Davery basically needs to roll under whatever his defense is at this point.
Yeah, I think I need to roll my defense or lower, and that will be the number will be mitigated by whatever his accuracy is.
Okay, so his accuracy is a 13, so it's -3.
-3. Okay, so I roll. I think it would be for this. It would be I would subtract 3 from my defense, so it would go from 9 to 6.
Yeah.
And then I'll
So
try.
you have to roll under a 6.
Yeah. 13. He hits me.
That is 12 points of damage. You got a D4 on your armor, so you roll a D4 and it soaks that much.
And then does the shield also reduce by another D4?
It should, yes, because this only has light armor on it.
Okay. Okay. So, please roll a lot.
I don't know how
Well,
much
then-
though. Let me,
Well, on my sheet it says the shield is a D4. It says shield D4.
okay, so
on
you got 2 D4 then.
It's a total of 7. Woo.
So
That's
you
good.
take 5 points of damage.
That is a lot of damage still.
And you only have 8 toughness?
No, I have a total of 10. It should still be, because that was from several sessions back. That was left over from the curse from Mal Rogan. It should have been
okay.
healed back up to 10 by now. Well, 5 now.
Yeah, so that puts you at 5. Yeah, I guess everybody should be. I don't know if anybody else had any damage from the.
We all healed up, I think.
Raise Yours should be 15. He's good. Just good.
Yep.
Torvar. Varric should be 10.
Mhm.
Yeah, my corruption should be 0 because we've gone through several scenes
Good.
since.
And Velcor should be 10, so he's good. Okay. That makes it Lestra's turn. What would she want to do? I'm wondering if she wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, she's well, she wouldn't do that. I was gonna say she's angry at you, so she may just leave you to let you let you do your thing there, but I don't see her doing that. She's a black cloak, so
Because if we get killed by it, I'm sure she won't be next. Oh.
That would never happen.
Okay, so apparently she doesn't have spells other than healing. I thought she would have some kind of
Join the club, sister.
she's got a spear. That's her only attack is a spear. And she has witch sight and medicus and beast lore. So yeah, I don't think she's even like a cleric, like in the sense of using magic to use healing. I think she just knows how to heal. As a clever surgeon, the character can make a test against cunning to heal 1d4 of a patient's toughness.
Oh, she doesn't have healing hand spell like Torvar. She just has the healing ability.
She's literally just a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Like she's a field medic. Medicus just gives her a field medic. So I guess she would try to throw a spear. She's got her spear there. So
she part of the flanking group?
yeah, I mean he's flanked, so what does that get you in this?
It's a +2 to hit and an additional +1d4 damage. Or I guess a -2 to hit, since it's a benefit to try and hit.
Yeah. Well, she rolled a 2, so she's good. And I'm going to say she does. All right. So she hits him. It gets him in his shoulder as he's coming at you. And that makes it Ludo's turn. Ludo is going to draw his axe. And whether it's wise or not, he's going to attack Razor right there next to him. He's at this point he's not even trying to defend his brother. Now he's just trying to defend himself. So roll me a he doesn't even have a he doesn't even, so roll me an accurate roll and no modifier. Just roll under whatever your accurate is. And I believe it is a 10.
10. I got a 12. So I did not roll under.
So that means you take 4 points of damage, and you have 2d4 on your armor. So roll 2d4, and that's how much you soak.
8.
All right. So yeah, he turns and swings this axe at Razor, and it like glances off of his armor, like it twists in his hand, and he does no damage. That brings us back to Varric.
Knew I should have killed him the first round. All right. Well, let's see. Yeah, you know what? I'll leave him to Rajor. I'm more concerned about the Blightborn right at the moment. Since he's flanked, I'm going to go ahead and try and put another arrow into. I'm going to move a little bit away from Ludo, just in case he decides to take a whack at me. And then I'm going to attempt to put an arrow into Balin again.
That's a +2 on his defense.
That is a 14, so that is a hit. And you said plus 1d4 damage, is that right, Dan?
Yes.
11 points of damage.
Ooh. Yeah, you really that took a chunk out of him. Like you actually got a piece of, like got a good chunk of flesh out of his side, and he screeches and roars, and that brings us to Torvar.
I'm trying to kill him before he kills you.
I was about to say, well, if nobody's going to attack this guy, I'm not going to 1v1 this Blightborn. So I'm like, you're on your own now. I'm going to withdraw and cast Healing Hands on myself.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. So I got a 4 on the check, and I think it's just like a basic, and 4 healing. So.
That brings.
Oh, and I need to roll Corruption. I think Corruption is a D4. One. All right.
You're almost as good as me.
Velcor.
Velcor is going to step up over to Balin and slashy. Of course, there's going to be the whole feint, and then backstab, twin attack, you name it.
All right. He's got a, like I said before, he's got a +2 on that. So.
All right, and yeah, I'm doing with.
Which, this is what's confusing me. Does that, like, this says it's a +2, so in my head, that means you take 2 off of your target to make it harder to hit him. Or is it easy to hit him?
It's easier to hit him.
Because he's stupid and not human.
He's
Feint
flying,
advantage
so.
/ all that is always supposed to make it easier for you to hit them.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a +2. So whatever your accurate is.
But I'm using my discrete.
Basically, when it says +2, it's +2 to whatever attribute you're using to hit. So, like in my case, I would, instead of having a 15 accuracy to roll under, I have a 17 accuracy.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Yeah, because I think it's meant to be like your attribute goes up because you don't know what the target number is going to be. It's going to change every time. So, but for your point,
so what I'm seeing here is he's easier to hit, but he's got a good soak on his arm. He's got tough flesh. He's got the attribute tough flesh, and so he's easier to hit, but he's got good soak. So
Sounds about
that's
right.
the trade-off, I guess. All right, Tim, go ahead.
All right, first attack with the stiletto, and is attacking with advantage. Is that a +2 or is it just an extra damage? I can't remember.
it's both. It's the +2
Okay.
to the attribute and the extra damage.
All right, so you said he had all right, I've got a 13, so that'd be a 15 minus whatever. All right, and that's a 10, so the stiletto hits,
All right, yep,
and
that's a
that
hit.
is 1d6 plus 1d4 for max for 1, that's 9, and then for the and I'm rolling a different dice for the parrying dagger, so they'll because I'm
Wait, you did 9 points of damage?
yes.
And what's backstab? I don't know because I've never looked at that.
Backstab is I get an additional 1d4. Actually, I would get. Do you get double advantage? I mean, 1d4 for the advantage and 1d4 for the backstab.
Unless they're both at advantage, yeah, you get both.
It says made from advantage deals plus 1d4 damage in addition to any damage already inflicted thanks to the advantage.
So yeah, so another D4.
That's
on top.
9 plus 2, so that's 11. And then
But wait, there's more.
then the
But that's just
parrying dagger got a new feat, and that's a 7, so that's a definite hit, and that's going to be 1d6 and 2d4.
Damn, how do you backstab?
And that is 6. Ooh, that is 10.
So 21 total damage.
Oh.
I like this new ability.
Yeah.
Sticking with the whole assassin route.
So you kind of run up behind him as he's tracking Torvar, and how do you kill him?
Ooh, prison shank time.
Yeah.
He had
Well,
4
he
hit
was
points
stopping.
left, and his armor soak was 5. So you beat him in the first hit. But I wanted you to go ahead and have your fun with your new ability.
This makes up for all the misses in the previous in the
So,
tower.
but what does it look like? How do you do? You just come at him with both at the same time. What do you do?
Yeah, I come in with the stiletto and I'm looking for the weak spots and it just slides right in and I slice up with it and then quickly follow with the parrying dagger and just putting it right in his neck and just slicing as I pull it out.
Oh man, and when he turns to look at you, he sees his brother's face.
Yes, he does.
Oh.
Man.
Man, Dave,
He feels betrayed.
That is.
It be you that comes up with that. I didn't even consider that.
Yes. Ludo.
So okay, that brings us to Razior.
All right, Ragior looks at Ludo and says, Ragior has deemed you a problem, and Ragior is management material, and he begins to rage. And he's going to attack with both swords.
Nice.
Razior proactive.
First one is a
Razior
3.
climbing corporate ladder.
Yeah.
His defense is a -1.
Okay, well, I rolled a 3, so. But I rolled max damage, so that's
Goodbye,
18.
Ludo.
18 points of damage for that first hit.
Oh my god.
That's a 4
So
for
my
the,
2 hits.
that second hit was a good one, too. That one hit. Oh. So that's not as good.
I mean,
Oh,
to
that
be
only
fair,
got
it was
13?
an ogre.
11 damage.
Oh, only 11.
That offhand is just not quite as good as the strong hand.
So while you were making your speech about the corporate ladder and the order of things, he, like anybody, maybe Varric is the only one that notices it, because the other two are kind of distracted. But he drops his axe before you hit him, and almost like he was about to surrender and yield, and then you actually like come down like right here and almost slice his entire torso in half. You got him with the first hit again, just like with Velcor. You killed him with the first hit, and then you came in with the other and just cut him down.
Well, we can discuss that in the after action report.
And
I
here-
sprinkle a little
he
crack by his
wasn't-
feet just in case.
Razior says, "Come together for scrum. Have to have."
He wasn't showing like physical like signs like Balin was, but when you cut him, his blood is dark. It's not red like blood. It hasn't like gone completely black, but it's this weird oily brownish black color. And that brings us to the end of this combat. You have taken the two of them out. They are no more. And the party is standing in the circle, looking at these two and looking at each other, and trying to decide. Now it's just a matter of what's going to happen. What do you want? How do you want? When they said they were coming back at sundown, how do you want to handle it?
I'm gonna sheath my blades and just pick up both bodies and drag them to the, where we saw the elves before, at the edge of the our camp, and just leave them there in a heap.
I'm just looking at these people going like, okay, this one did 12 points of damage, this one did 21 points of damage, this one did 18 points of damage with one hit. I'm like, I think I'm just gonna hang out in the back from now on. I think they got it.
Do you take the elf's body and?
I was going to say, Varric will take the elf's body as well. I mean, they already know she's dead. But Varric will take the elf's corpse as well, and not going to dump it down with their bodies, but he's going to place it nearby.
Yeah, we can grab, like, you know, if there's like a couple of empty barrels or something like that, like we can put her body up off the ground to like, you know, we're showing more respect to it. We're not just like, you know, here's the rest of your trash.
And Varric is actually going to hang out there and wait on them.
And you made a point when you killed her. You made a point of like treating her body with respect and giving it. You didn't like just grab her by the hair and drag her back to camp. Yeah. You did make a point of treating her remains with respect. And so you are going to stand vigilant and wait. Is anybody going to stand with Varric?
Oh yeah,
I'll stand there.
Yeah, better to be forewarned in case this goes bad.
Yeah, at sunset they come back, and as you saw from a distance, you see up close, Gaudry is an older elf. He's obviously the one in charge. What was the other one's name? Saren Ree. Saren Ree is a younger, more kind of hot-headed, like he maybe knew, and he's very angry. And when he comes up and sees 3 bodies, he is very upset, very angry. And Gaudry, they approach, and there no weapons, nothing drawn. They approach, and Gaudry says, "So I see you've made your decision."
The Blightborn made decisions for us, and because I assume like part of my shield is probably still warped and cut and damaged, and then of course they're twisted. So I think the stress of your return triggered Balin.
Things ended the only way they could have, unfortunately.
We knew they were getting close. We didn't think they were so close that they would turn before we were able to retrieve them from you. I apologize that you had to deal with this. And he looks down at the other corpse, and he says, and he points, and he says, "In this."
He's pointing at the elf. So, as you're likely aware, that is your. Varric will just use the Elven word for sister, since he doesn't know their actual relationship. So, unfortunately, we had no knowledge of who she was when we struck her down as she appeared as a wild beast. But we
And
tried to
like,
treat her with what respect we could.
and Saren Ree will actually like he like makes a move, like he takes a step, and Godrive puts his hand on his chest and like stops him, and he says, "I I appreciate it. It appears you dealt with her remains with respect. I appreciate you." And he's talking to you now in their language. If he thinks you understand some bit of it, that's how he's talking. Um,
Yeah, Varric will respond in Elvish. Oh, he's actually fluent in Elvish. He just can't
yeah,
read and write it, but he can speak it.
and he will say, "I appreciate you showing respect. I regret that this had to happen in this fashion. I would have rather her not be be gone from us, but I do see that you once you discovered she was one of us, you treated her with respect, and I thank you." And then in common, he looks at the other three of you and he says, "Thank you for handling her body with respect and returning her to us."
Regior is the light that he wants to see in this world.
Like, what my
Um,
eloquent friend said.
uh,
and he will ask, is there any they didn't draw anybody else in your party. They didn't like harm anybody, uh, open wound, uh, injure anyone in your party, did they?
No,
Didn't get a chance.
just gonna move that shield in front of myself a little bit more. Nope, nobody.
Their flesh was soft and pliable, like that of a kitten.
And
what
he'll
is
say,
wrong with you?
he'll say, okay, is there anything else that you need from us before we depart?
No,
We will dispose of their bodies.
I think at this point the caravan just wishes to be done with this journey. If you're not, however, if you're not aware, there is a undead witch of some form roaming these mountains as well. Uh, we encountered earlier, but we're unfortunately unable to put him down, by the name of Malrogan, apparently.
Got a freaky hand hanging from his neck.
Yeah, Malrogan, the one-handed.
So
We are aware of Mal Rogan. At this point, he is a common thief um, who fancies himself a kingpin. Uh, should he take any more steps uh, across any lines, he will be dealt with. But yes, we are aware of him, but he is not of any interest to us at the moment.
well, then we will continue with our journey on the morning, and in the unlikely event that we cross paths again, hopefully it will be under more pleasant circumstances.
And he clup, cups his hands together and bows, and he says again, "Thank you for the respect." And he turns and looks at the younger one, and he says, "Sarenri, if you would please transport these bodies." And he again just fire in his eyes. He is just so furious that this has happened, and it is his sister. Um, but he also knows who's in charge, and he's not going to cross him any more than you guys want to cross him. And so he takes a couple of steps back away from you and kind of cracks his neck, and his body starts to change and deform, and he gets bigger, and he turns into this massive bear. Just right there, like right there in front of you. He just like he transforms and becomes this huge, like 11-foot tall bear.
Step
And
behind Rhaegor.
do what?
Step behind Rhaegor.
And
I stand a little taller.
he gingerly he leans down and gingerly picks up the corpse of the elf and like cradles it in his arm, and then he reaches down with the other paw and grabs 1 foot of Ludo and 1 foot of Balin and just starts dragging them through the snow, and he turns and walks back the way they came. And again, Go Dry, this time in common, he thanks you. He apologizes that this had to happen. Please tell your caravan master that we meant no disrespect. We just had to invoke the Iron Pact. And I pray that you have a safe journey down the other side of the Titans.
All right, I'm
And he
gonna
takes a
mimic whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna mimic that hand thing that he does.
And he takes a couple of steps back, and then he just turns and follows this massive bear back off into the woods.
And Velcor lets out a long sigh of relief.
And about the time that they get out of sight, the storm that's been kind of pelting you guys dies out. The strong winds subside, the snowfall ends, and soon the world rests peacefully under this snow white blanket. After 2 more days of struggles, the caravan makes it across the snowy plateau up through the last pass, where the passengers get a fantastic view of the landscape that stretches out before them. Below in the distance lies Yenderos, the grand capital city of Umbria, towering over a farmland covered in swaying fields and pierced by glittering rivers. Here and there are patches of forest burning in yellow and red, and I would like to remind you of where it was you're coming from. The devastation and the nothingness that was in the south. The patches become more frequent and grow bigger and bigger the further the gaze wanders north. And somewhere far away, the trees gain mastery over the lowland, trees that together make out the dark and mythic forest of Davokar. It's probably only your knowledge of its existence that makes you imagine seeing the red flame of Thistlehold's beacon located at the forest edge. Carvosti, the plateau ruled by witches and barbarian warriors, cannot be seen as it lies deep in the woods, and same goes for the haunted ruins of old Symbaroum. And that is likely for the best, since the ruins are said to be monstrously beautiful, almost hypnotic in their overgrown splendor. Argasto interrupts your daydreams with a high-pitched order to mount up. As soon as the cookware has been stowed away, the break is over and the caravan can resume its journey towards Yenderos. The wagons sway on bumpy routes with animals in front and exhausted travelers holding ropes tied to the wagons behind. Weary faces are gleaming with sweat in the chilly mountain air. Steamy clouds fume from mouths and muzzles alike. But despite fatigue and cold, the eyes of the travelers shine as brightly as the pinnacles on the Queen's palace. The promised land is waiting for them to arrive. And that is the end of the promised land. You guys make it down the mountain and into Yenderos, and what your characters would decide to do from there is another tale for another time. Um,
Can we get Rhaegar to record us a PSA? Remember, kids, don't use cursed skulls as a bong.
and speaking of that, you know that the skull is still out there somewhere. Whoever that was that hired them to to lead them out into the Davokar, he's somewhere and has that skull with the copper crown on it.
Just a coincidence.
Subtle.
So yeah, that is the promised land. I don't know. It seems like I don't know if I was doing it wrong, but it seems like you guys were just manhandling everything I threw at you. And I kind of feel like I was doing the monsters wrong because you guys were just wiping them out.
I think Symbaroum, and I've heard this like just on like forums and stuff. I think Symbaroum is real swingy. Like it's real easy to one shot PCs and NPCs alike. Because you got to think also, like when you hit my character, you did 9 points of damage.
Yeah.
So like, if I didn't have armor, like that would have been it for that character.
I think an issue I see with it is the initiative.
Mm.
Having it just be static and be the same thing every single time. While it makes sense, the quickest person would be the first one to move. I get that. But it also removes any chance of, anybody else, getting the jump.
Honestly, that is 100% why I bought that tactician ability, because my character's quickness is pretty low, it's a 7, and I was like, okay, it'll be fine, we'll see what it was. But realizing with those first few fights, I was like, oh, I'm never going to go, and they're always going to either get the jump on me or I'm going to be sitting around twiddling my thumbs while everyone else fights. And I was like, okay, I have to boost that initiative up.
Well, and
so
yeah,
that was completely why.
Because it is so swingy, it makes that potential first strike very important.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, he did 9 points of damage outright to you. Had we managed to miss a few attacks, had he managed to get in another attack or two on you, you might have very well been dead if if we had rolled worse. So, initiative is speed is life. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And
because even though
I'm proud that I feel like we did it. Like I know I bitched about not being able to roll anything, and I talked about changing that, but I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad we played it rules as written, or at least to the best of our ability, to our understanding. But I don't know. I think I enjoy the setting a lot more than the mechanics.
I agree with you. Another thing that I haven't mentioned, but I want to see how it would play out is I feel like it doesn't do a great job of, I think your characters start off, it's the whole 0 to hero thing. You start off with very little power, but you only get like 2 or 3 XP per session, and it's 20 XP to go up to a journeyman level. And so like, I feel like you start from you're going from 0 to 0. Like you're never going to get enough XP to really have like an exciting character.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely, see, that's the weird thing. It seems like it's made for the long story.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the only way you're going to like level up in any real fashion is if you're playing a long campaign. But it's also a pretty deadly system that might not ever let you see that long campaign.
Yeah.
And unlike other Free League games, it's actually Free League's oldest game. It actually predates Free League actually existing as its own thing.
Yeah, Free League bought it. It was an indie game, and Free League bought it, and they publish it. But yeah, it's
well, no, it was the Free League writers who originally wrote Symbaroum, but they no longer had the rights to it. then they went back and bought the rights to their game, if I remember correctly. But either way, because you can see the similarities to their later games in it,
Yeah.
but it is very much you can tell it's very much an older, from a different time frame from a design perspective.
Yeah. Again, to talk about like XP, because like in the new games, it's pretty much 5 points for a new talent, 5 points for a skill advance. So it's like 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, as opposed to 10, 20, 30, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm like, I wonder how this game would do if they put it in the YZ.
Well, and I was going to say, I wonder if you applied some of the updates like they did to Forbidden Lands and whatnot, if you took if you tweak the rules a little bit more in that direction. Because you can, like I said, you can tell they share DNA, but they're still very distinct games mechanically. But
that may be why they pulled the trigger on the 5e version of it. That was their way of updating it to modern.
And that would make sense, especially from a marketing perspective. Because it is a great setting, but the rules are definitely sort of from a particular era, I think, in a lot of ways.
But yeah, that was with you mentioning the XP and the other games. It made me think in the Alien game, as much as I love that game, and it's like my favorite thing, I've got a real blind spot for the XP. You're supposed to ask these 5 questions at the end of every session, and for every yes that the player answers, they get 1 point of XP. And for some reason, I just forget it. I just don't ever do it because I just don't think about it because I've never done XP that way in any game. And we were 5 sessions into Alien, and I thought, oh, I should have been giving them XP this entire time.
Whoops.
And I went through and listened. That's one good thing about putting this stuff on YouTube is I went back and listened to all 5 episodes, and I created an Excel spreadsheet and was just keeping track. Okay, he hit that one, he hit that one, he hit that one. And then it was like Christmas morning. The next session is like, okay, you get 11 experience points, you get 12 experience points. And so they went buck wild getting all their new attributes and stuff. So
Dave and I play in a One Ring game every week elsewhere, and the way One Ring does it is you have adventure points and skill points essentially, and that can be used for different things. But you get a flat 3 per session in each of those. That's it. It doesn't there's no. I mean, the GM can award more if they want to, but basically it's a flat 3 adventure points, 3 skill points every session. From level 3 to 4 and something is like 20 points. But because you get a flat 3 every session, it sort of mitigates the number of points you have to have.
Yeah.
Which is a departure from a lot of the, it's the same scaling point system that's in most of their games, but they've done different experience systems multiple times to go along with it, or experience reward systems, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because one thing I've always noted about Year Zero is they sort of iterate on each of their games. They sort of iterate on the engine just a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, as much as I'm looking forward to my copy of the new Coriolis, I kind of wish they had gone for a new Symbaroum. I'm like,
I'd like
man,
to see that as well. Yeah,
I'd like to see them put a decade's worth of experience into updating that.
I really think in their minds, Symbaroum is sacred. It's the first thing. It's the I'm still surprised they did a 5e version of it. It's shocking. Business-wise, it makes sense. I get that.
Yeah.
But just that they would alter it, I don't know. It seems like they would have evolved it into Year Zero instead of 5e.
Well, and part of that may be from a marketing perspective in that they know fantasy is a very crowded market in some ways, and they already have Forbidden Lands, so maybe they just have, and it's possible 5e was testing the waters to see how popular the setting becomes outside of its normal rule set, and then maybe eventually they'll translate it into year zero, because like I said, they already have another fantasy product, and the fantasy in general as a genre is fairly crowded in the RPG market. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some line of that thinking as well. That, and I do wonder if, like you said, it being somewhat sacred, and the newer writers are a little reluctant to go back and mess with it, and would rather focus on newer things like Forbidden Lands and that sort of thing. So I don't know.
Apparently, Alien
Well,
and Blade Runner and other stuff
I'm
making
very,
money hands over fist.
I've always been fascinated by the setting. I will say that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The setting is fantastic. The whole concept of it is just so well thought out.
Honestly, I think it would probably be fairly easy if somebody hasn't already done it independently. It would probably be reasonably easy to actually pick up and port into Forbidden Lands with just a little bit of work.
Yeah, I know we didn't get a chance to deal with a lot of it because just the nature of this adventure is it's small, it's tight, it's self-contained. But yeah, the multi-group conflict between everybody, and the both the political and social, and then physical and cultural warring between, and magical warring between everyone. Just it's a fascinating system. I love the system, the setting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that means there's a whole lot of opportunity for everything from dungeon crawling to political machinations to to whatever, which is nice. It's not it can fit a lot more campaign styles than it might otherwise for what it is. So,
And that's the one thing I've never done with a free league game is something that wasn't written. Like I've never they with Alien, they put out that book that was totally the only purpose for that book, Building Better Worlds, was you've got a crew, they're in a spaceship, they may not hit an alien, like they may not get a xenomorph ever, they're just exploring space in this setting. Go have fun.
one weakness,
Like that sounds fascinating to me, but I've never done it. And
one
I
weakness
think that
I
would be
find-
the same with Symbaroum. Like you could open this up and just go adventuring.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it would lend itself to the sort of hex crawl is not quite the right word for Forbidden Lands, but that's very much Forbidden Lands is, and to a lesser extent, Mutant Year Zero is. Here's a map. Hey, that thing over there on the map looks interesting. Let's go see what that is.
Dragonbane is very hex crawl.
It can
It's got
be.
a very much it's got a really hex crawl feel to it.
I ran Dragonbane for the same group that Davery and I play the One Ring with, and I didn't actually run it as a hex crawl, but it definitely has the mechanics there. But Dragonbane, in a lot of ways, plays not mechanically, but in feel, is very much like old D&D in a lot of ways. Sort of just a high fantasy romp. My biggest complaint probably with Free League is that they're not really good about giving guidelines for creating your own stuff.
Yeah.
Like Pathfinder, D&D, a lot of other games give you some sort of idea of how to go about creating stuff that will fit into the system. And Free League in general, in pretty much all of their systems, is not very good with that. Like Dragonbane, one of the things I kind of struggled with a little bit when I ran it as a test game was coming up with rewards, because there's no real guidelines for like physical rewards for like treasure, or really for nothing in depth for creating magic items. Same thing with Forbidden Lands. There's a little bit there, but coming up with, they don't really give you much under the hood to figure out mechanically how you should be coming up with monsters or NPCs or magic items or anything. And while you can certainly figure it out, it requires a more experience with the system than it probably should, when they should just probably provide a few guide rails for that.
Yeah. Now that's what I was just saying. Like to open Symbaroum up to just an open world exploration, that GM is going to have to do a lot of homework.
I would do it
Because
almost
literally, like the first 2/3 of this book is nothing but story, background, history of the setting and the world, and like if you're going to open it up to just open exploration, you better know what's going on. But they did that with Alien. That book, Building Better Worlds, that's all. That's the 100% purpose of the book was to give GMs, like information, a starting point. Um, I don't. That's the one Alien book I don't have. I've got all the others. I don't have Building Better World. I've got it in PDF, but I don't have a physical copy. Um, but Tim, Kevin, what did you think of Symbaroum? I know Kevin hasn't been around, but for a couple of sessions. But what did you?
I I tried to like do more research on the setting. Like, I'm a big lore guy, so the more juicy lore there is, and knowing the lore allows me to kind of create a character that better fits in with the lore and everything, and that makes
Yeah,
me feel like I like the character better. Uh, but I couldn't get my brain into like learning something new at the time that I was doing it. And I was watching those videos that you had posted, and it wasn't clicking for me. So you guys are like, oh, this is happening, and I'm like, I have no idea what any of this is. I watched one of those like hour-long videos. I watched most of it, and I'm just like, my brain just kind of turned off after a while, and I don't remember anything. But
I mean it is deep. It's very, very, and what I know of it is scratching the surface.
Well, and I think that's part of the reason why they sort of orient. You don't have to, but they sort of orient by default, assuming that the characters, like in Promised Land, are new to the area. They're refugees coming in from the devastation, and that way they don't have to learn all the lore because their characters don't know it either. You know, they're
Yeah,
they're coming to the frontier, such as it were, um, fresh off the boat, such as it were, and so therefore both neither the players nor the characters, for the most part, really know anything about anything outside of potential lore master characters and stuff like that. So I think that's really intentional in the design, to deal with the potential needed info dump, because that's always kind of an issue with settings that have a real deep lore history.
yeah. Tim,
Oh, I've loved the Symbaroum setting since we did the Cinematex years ago, and getting to get into it again and experience it more than we did there. Um, you know, I'm willing to work with whatever. I enjoyed it.
yeah, we did the starter set in a text based game uh, with Eric Frankhouse and Ali Capone
Yeah,
and
riddles
Tim
too.
and
Yeah, riddles,
who? Yeah,
riddles.
Jack. Yeah, Riddles. Um, yeah, that was a good story. I need to get a Cinematex game going. I haven't done Cinematex in over a year now. Um, and you guys keep talking about the One Ring. Do you have the Moria book? Do either one of you have the Moria book?
Funny you say that. We are actually in Moria right now.
Okay, I desperately want to play or run that. Like I bought the book thinking, oh, this is just a big super dungeon crawl, and uh, I really want to get like whether it's streamed or not. I would love to be able to have I would love to be able to explore that book.
We
Uh,
we're what,
We're
3 years into this campaign, aren't we? Roughly, Davery.
yeah, this specific one, yeah, 3 years in.
And we've switched characters multiple times in different ages, and uh, our GM's actually Danish, and he could probably qualify as a Tolkien scholar if he really wanted to.
Deep
So,
nerd. So,
yeah.
say that's Tim. Tim is our Tolkien
And I
scholar in the guild.
I have a lot of stuff, but I don't know it all. I just got the Realms of the Three Rings. Waiting for this move to be finished so I can actually sit down and look at it. But
Yeah, I've got the Moria book, but because we're in Moria right now, I haven't looked at it. So it's
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
I'll
The
wait
map
until.
is just
Yeah, the map is.
Yeah.
I've got
Like-
one of the stretch goals was the map for the Shire, and so I went ahead and got the map for Moria, the cloth, and
Nice.
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, we're currently with the one exception of one character, we are a group of dwarves who are venturing into Moria. This is a full age after what should have been the events of Lord of the Rings. Things did not in our timeline did not go the same. Let's just say. So let's just say Gandalf did not make his journey through Moria previously. So there is still plenty of shadow and flame to go around.
Yeah. And see, that's what I wanted to do. I want a group of dwarves trying to reclaim it.
Mhm.
That was my whole idea for a game, is a group of dwarves that are going in trying to reclaim it for their kingdom.
Reclaiming nothing at this point. We're just trying to survive it. It's been rough.
All right. Well, I guess it's about time for us to call it a night. And I was kind of bummed when we ended it, like it was right at 9 o'clock. But I really like that we had 30 minutes to discuss our thoughts.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to take a break from Symbaroum for a couple of months. Davery's got a project that he has to get done. But maybe, possibly, in the future, we can come back and play the second chapter of this, and we will look into getting something else going. Either that Moria game, or I do have this now as well
Yeah.
that I'm very excited about. So that may be the next thing I run. I'm not sure. We'll see. But
That sort of lends itself to an episodic game too, so that's always nice.
yeah. So yeah, that I guess that'll be it for us this evening. So if you would like to join us over there on the Random Encounters Guild and play any of these crazy games with these crazy people, you can join us on our Discord server there, and our YouTube channel. All of our streams go live on YouTube the next day, so you can catch us there as well. I think we're going to. It looks like, speaking of Alien, it looks like Critical Fail DM, our buddies over there, are playing Alien this evening. So I think we're going to give them a raid. And that will be. Or wait, they may have shut down while we were sitting here talking. They did. So we're going to raid live from the apocalypse. Sorry, Trevor, and the rest of you at Critical Fail. We're going to go ahead and raid live from the apocalypse. They gave us a raid a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to return the favors. So yeah, I have been Guildmaster Scott. I run things over here, and we have a lot of fun. If you'd like to join us, please do. The next thing on the schedule is Blade 68, but Jenna said her plane isn't leaving till Wednesday afternoon. So somehow I don't think we're going to be playing Blade 68 Wednesday evening. So the next thing on the channel will probably be Alien Sunday night. We'll be back with Alien Chariot of the Gods. Kevin.
Hi, I'm Kevin. Haven't been very active. Life gets in the way, but yeah, it was nice to get to play. It's been a while since I got to play anything really, in depth. So, but yeah, that's it.
And Chad.
Yeah, I'm Chad. I get to play more regularly than Kevin, but don't stream very often. But no, I had a lot of fun.
Tim.
Well, if we could do this again, I'm definitely down for it. Coming back to these characters, I just got a sweet new build, so I'm excited with it.
you finally became productive in combat.
I'm ending on a strong spot, so if we would have quit after that tower encounter, I've been like, yeah, no, I'm done with this. But no,
Symbaroum sucks. Now you're like, Symbaroum's the
I've
best.
enjoyed it, and this first game I've gotten to play in a while because of life. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can get something going again. But I've had a really good time.
And Davery.
Yep, Davery, and yeah, hopefully we'll once my problem/opportunity, my problemtunity show resolves itself. I'll be able to we'll be able to dive in here, and yeah, same as Tim. Like, I just got finally enough initiative that I can start engaging in combat. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, all right. If we get a chance to come back to this, we'll just pick up with the same. You guys have your character sheets, and I have you mostly loaded in the Fantasy Grounds game, so it would be easy enough to pick up and jump into the second chapter of Copper Crown. So yeah, next few months we may get back together, and because we did this this is session 5, so we did this in 5 sessions. It wasn't a lengthy thing. The only thing that stretched it out is us going every other week instead of every week. So it wouldn't be a big deal we could jump in and do the second chapter and then take another break and then jump in and do the third chapter. So with that, I think we're going to call it a night, and we're going to raid Live from the Apocalypse. So give them a shout when you get there and let them know that we sent you. And we'll see you Sunday night for Alien. I'm going to go ahead and call it. We're not playing Wednesday night. If there's a change to that, I'll let everybody know on social media, but I don't think we're going to be playing. So we'll see you Sunday night for Alien, and that's going to be it for us. Say good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good night, everybody.